Presented by Listen Headlines, latest world news from trusted sources.
Washington Post World, August 30th, 12:14 America, New York. Rockets hit neighborhood near Kabul airport amid U.S. pullout. Witnesses say rockets have struck a neighborhood near Kabul's international airport amid the ongoing U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Washington Post World, August 30th, 12:14 America, New York. Afghanistan live updates. Taliban promises U.S. safe passage for some fleeing Afghans after August 31st pullout. Tens of thousands of Afghans have fled since the Taliban seized Kabul, but the Islamist group's guards have also used violence to intimidate people from leaving. Washington Post World, August 30th, 12:12 America, New York. Tropical storm Nora facing, after leaving 1 dead, 7 missing. Tropical storm Nora is dropping heavy rains along the Gulf of California after weakening from a hurricane that set off floods and landslides on Mexico's Pacific coast, caused havoc in Puerto Vallarta and left at least 1 dead and 7 missing. Washington Post World, August 30th, 12:01 America, New York. The U.S. reckons with defeat in Afghanistan. Many of the same doyens of the Washington establishment who are now outraged that the Taliban is back in power have been less vocal about the failures and shortcomings of the 2 decades spent keeping the militants at bay.
BBC News World, August 30th, 7:11 America, New York. Milan fire, flames engulf modern 20-story block of flats. The tower is only 10 years old and questions are being asked about how the fire spread so dramatically.
August 30th, 7:04 America, New York. Video shows power of Ida's landfall. Hurricane Ida, which has now weakened to a tropical storm, made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane near Port Fortune, Louisiana on August 29th.
Washington Post World, August 30th, 7 o'clock America, New York. 10 civilians killed by U.S. drone strike in Kabul, family says. The dead were all from a single extended family and were getting out of a car in their modest driveway when the strike hit a nearby vehicle.
Mirror World News, August 30th, 6:57 America, New York. Desperate little girl sits on handcuffed dad's lap to stop police taking him away. The 31-year-old dad had reportedly been stopped by police on a walking path in a COVID hotspot by police officers who noticed he was not wearing a mask.
Washington Post World, August 30th, 6:55 America, New York. After months, Egypt frees reporter, activist, YouTube star. 2 Egyptian lawyers say that authorities released an online comedian, a journalist and a political activist after they spent months in pre-trial detention.
August 30th, 6:42 America, New York. Elizabeth Holmes' trial is set to begin. Here's what you need to know. Elizabeth Holmes, the disgraced founder and former CEO of Theranos, is set to go to trial this week, more than 3 years after being indicted on multiple federal fraud and conspiracy charges over allegations she knowingly misrepresented the capabilities of her company's proprietary blood testing technology.
Washington Post World, August 30th, 6:41 America, New York. Lawyers seek ICC probe into alleged war crimes in Yemen. Human rights lawyers representing hundreds of victims of Yemen's civil war are calling on the International Criminal Court to open an investigation into war crimes and crimes against humanity allegedly committed by the Saudi-led coalition during the devastating conflict. RT World News, August 30th, 6:41 America, New York. Japan suspends Moderna COVID vaccine after another million doses found contaminated, bringing total to 2.6 million. Japanese officials have suspended the use of millions of doses of the Moderna COVID vaccine after foreign substances were found in a number of batches and 2 people died after receiving jabs from the affected lots. RT World News, August 30th, 6:38 America, New York. New Zealand reports first death linked to Pfizer vaccine, extends lockdown in Auckland despite falling COVID-19 infections. New Zealand's largest city, Auckland, will remain in lockdown for 2 more weeks despite the mounting decline in coronavirus cases, while the health ministry reported the country's first death linked to the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine.
August 30th, 6:34 America, New York. Google and Apple's next regulatory headaches are looming across the Pacific. Google and Apple are catching heat for their App Store and payments practices in Asia Pacific. August 30th, 6:23 America, New York. Ida has weakened to a tropical storm as it moves through Louisiana. The storm has brought life-threatening flash flooding to the state. Low bandwidth? Try CNN's light site. Get updates on extreme weather.
New York Times World News. August 30th, 6:17 America, New York. Is vaccine immunity waning? It may not really be waning much, which means universal booster shots may do little good. A mobile vaccine clinic in West Palm Beach, Florida. This month.
Wall Street Journal World News. August 30th, 6:04 America, New York. Militants fire rockets at Kabul airport as U.S. nears withdrawal. U.S. counter-rocket defenses were deployed to intercept the assault. While no group claimed immediate responsibility, the U.S. has repeatedly warned of imminent threats by Islamic State.
August 30th, 5:58 America, New York. Opinion: U.S. trained Khashoggi's killers. A review of all military training programs is necessary. Recent revelations have exposed the United States' role in providing military and paramilitary training to at least some of the alleged hitmen behind two of the most high-profile assassinations of the past decade, the murder of Saudi journalist and political dissident Jamal Khashoggi, and the recent killing of Haitian President Jovenel Moïse.
Time: August 30th, 5:55 America, New York. China sees opportunity after America's withdrawal from Afghanistan. But can Beijing do any better? The speed of the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan has been a surprise. China's reaction to the U.S. humiliation, anything but. As the August 31st deadline for U.S.
Mirror World News. August 30th, 5:50 America, New York. Hours left to save 250 animals trapped in Kabul as deadline for troops looms. Kabul Small Animal Rescue has launched an 11th hour, Operation Hercules, to pluck stricken dogs to safety from Kabul as the August 31st deadline for U.S. troops to withdraw looms. BBC News World. August 30th, 5:31 America, New York. Brazil bank robbers tie hostages to getaway cars. Armed gang members took hostages as human shields, after a bank robbery in the city of Aracatuba.
Wall Street Journal World News. August 30th. 5:30 America, New York. Uzbekistan tells U.S. Afghan pilots, their families can't stay. Uzbekistan is urging Washington to act quickly to take a group of U.S.-trained Afghan airmen who fled there 2 weeks ago to a third country to avoid inflaming relations with the Taliban.